Namaskar, কেমন আছো to all lovely super mothers. Welcome to Super Mother Unleashed. I would like to thank you all listeners for the response on my first episode. Thank you everyone for taking out time and listening my show. In today's episode, I want to talk about one of the most important concerns which I believe all mothers must be having. Whenever we see chubby kids with good body mass, we all love them. And these adorable kids are beloved to everyone. But what about those babies who are on the skinnier side? Does this concern make you think, is my baby growing properly? When your little bundle doesn't look like a mini sumo wrestler, grandparents, friends, even neighbors, and sometimes strangers may come out of the nowhere at surprising speed to comment on your child's size. Are you feeding him milk properly? Maybe you should try some supplements. Hey, when are you starting her on solid food? And many other similar questions and comments like this. These are just some of the remarks parents of thin babies may hear almost on daily basis. It's easy to fall catch to fears about your baby's weight when they don't look like the cover model of chubby babies. But just like with adults, child also have wide range of size and shape. Of course, situations do exist where babies need to gain more weight. But it's possible your little one is just fine at a more thin size. Wondering how thin is very thin? So in today's episode, we'll cover that. But before we proceed, I will share my own experience. I introduced food to my daughter after completion of 6 months. Till that time, I kept her completely on mother milk. Then I started giving her liquid food including dal, smashy fruits, soups and vegetable khichdi. And I must say, she was maintaining her weight. She was neither underweight nor overweight. But once she completed 1 year and started moving and running around, she was looking very lean. And that was bothering me. Whenever I used to take my daughter to garden for play or used to take her for a walk in her pram, the only thing I used to notice chubby kids roaming around, who were quite a good in weight. Even at time of going to the market for buying fresh vegetable and fruits, I used to check on Google what vegetables and fruits will help my baby gain weight. And only those things I used to buy. I continued doing this every time thinking that this may help my baby gain some weight. But I hardly see any changes in her body. And I used to think it must be happening because she is unable to eat much. I started force feed her at times, hoping that way will help. But honestly, that didn't help either. Then one day I visited doctor for her weight issues. And I asked, why is she not gaining weight? Doctor looked at me and laughed. And I was surprised. I am very much concerned and almost depressed, and doctor is laughing and looking at me in his own animated expressions. Doctor told me, you are not the only mother who is asking me this. Everyday parents visits me and almost every mother asks me same question. He said, if your baby is active and not having any health issues, it's absolutely fine. Then doctor did the routine checkup and I returned back home thinking everything will be all right. But after a few days, I started thinking again, try to figure out what I need to feed my daughter so that she will gain her weight. One day when I started searching in Google and the results suggested to give more carbohydrate related food to baby in order to gain weight. Hence I have started giving that. But then also I was thinking, why my baby is not looking chubby? Is she gaining more weight? Over my next visit for her vaccination, that time also I asked same question in different manner. And doctor checked my daughter's weight and as per him, she is doing absolutely fine. That statement actually have not given me the complete relief. So this time, I asked very straightforward, when my daughter will gain weight or recommend me any alternate option like medicine, tonic, so I can feed my daughter. Doctor replied, weight also depend on parents' body gene. The overweight parents tend to have overweight baby and there might be many other factors or reasons for weight gain. Then doctor checked her thoroughly and asked me, "Does she eat food on time? And are you feeding mother milk regularly?" I said yes. "Then why to worry? You should be fortunate that your baby is happy, healthy, and very active." That day when I returned back home, I realized I am very fortunate that my baby is healthy, active, and completely alright. And just to have some more weight gain expectation, I was trying different things and push feeding her lots of things what was important for me to maintain her current weight, rather than trying to gain more weight to make her look more chubby. Then I started focusing on her overall health and nutrition. Based on my own experience, I have learned that sometimes a perfectly healthy baby slowly gains weight because it's just his or her own unique growth pattern. In other cases, there's a problem that may not be easy to identify. If your baby is not gaining weight and is very lean, I'm talking about underweight kids. According to certain patterns, you and your baby should be checked by your doctor. Don't panic if your baby's weight gain is ever a concern. Whether slow weight gain is related to your baby's natural pattern or some other factor, it's almost always best for your baby to keep on mother milk. So what describes weight? What is normal and what is not? There are some indicators to explain this, which I want to talk about. One of the important indicator is parental size. Expert says if the mother or both parents are overweight, there are higher chances of child being overweight. And that's both environmental and genetic because children born to overweight parents have a 70% likelihood of becoming overweight. And those with obese moms have a 50% chance of growing up to overweight. Another important indicator is growth curve. I realized comparing baby to other kids of same age on the playground is a fool's idea. Imagine if two babies are born on same date and both have different weight. Both of them can be perfectly healthy if they have both double their child weight within 4 to 5 months. That's why pediatricians monitor baby's growth on an individual personal growth that tracks height, weight, and head circumference. The kids who are following their curve, they are in good shape. One of the most important points to remember is babies come in all shapes and sizes. If your concern is your baby is smaller than your neighbor's baby of the same age, stop comparing. Each baby is different. Each baby follows his or her own growth curve. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your baby. Babies can be naturally smaller or naturally bigger than others. There might be some cases baby is not gaining weight at all or decreasing drastically, and question may come when a mother should worry. Well, mother and even pediatricians get concerned if a baby's measurements start falling or not increasing over time. While during routine checkup, your child's doctor may definitely share this concern with you, and you'll go over your baby's measurement, behavioral development, feeding habits, and other areas of growth. When your pediatric tells you where your baby falls on the chart, they are likely referring to the World Health Organization's growth chart. These charts are based on years of high quality research and use mother milk infants as their norm. Separate charts exist for girls and boys. Another important indicator is genetics, which is also play a very important role. In our desire to have a baby with a certain expectations as per the growth chart, we tend to forget that our genetics is also play a part in children's size. So ask yourself, how is my build? How large I am? The build and the structure of parents will be visible on baby body. So stop worrying all mothers. Next indicator is low birth weight. If your baby was born at a low birth weight due to early or premature delivery or as a result of being a multiple, they may continue to be small for the first several months or little longer. Also remember that babies born at low, normal, or high weight can fluctuate in their progress. There are instances where a regression on the growth curve is an indicator of a problem. And lastly, most important indicator is mother milk feed versus bottle feed. It may sound like a stereotype, but mother milk babies and bottle feed babies often do have differences in weight gain in the first year of life. Our research says that the more infants were in mother milk, the less weight they had gained at 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 12th months. Oppositely, the more bottle feedings the babies received, the higher their weight. This doesn't mean that a mother milk baby needs to be bottle fed for healthy growth. But after all this understanding and efforts, if you're still worried about your baby's weight, it's always smart to consult your pediatrician about your concerns regarding your child's growth, rather than being ignorant or casually consulting other people or any relatives who may not be aware baby's individual growth. A trusted doctor can walk you through warning signs that your child is failing to develop well, as well as make a physical assessment in person. They can also take consistent measurements at your regular visits to track how your baby's growth progress is happening over time. If nothing else, seeing your doctor can give you much needed peace of mind. Even when others may push or suggest you to take steps to fatten up baby, but your baby's pediatrician is the authority who can make this call. Every situation is different when it comes to helping your little one put on weight. If your baby's doctor have declared that underweight is genuinely a problem for your child, ask him to advise you with a proper solution. In general, there are two kinds of baby. Few would go with the color of the food, and few kids are very taste-centric. So keep a watch on your baby's interest. If your baby is not eating enough, not to worry. I will cover that part in my next episode. And we'll cover how to offer more variety, choosing high-calorie food, how to put more nutritional values, how to make meal times and pleasant experience for your kids. Before we conclude this episode, some takeaway from today's show. Long, short, thin or chubby, babies comes in all shapes and sizes. While society may send a message that your little bundle of joy has to have rolls of baby fat to be healthy, that isn't true. As long as they are meeting developmental milestones, are alert and active, and are feeding well, you likely don't need to worry. Consistent growth, not exponential growth, is the key to baby's well-being. Always remember, only your pediatrician, neither your neighbor nor your aunt, is a best expert to determine whether your baby needs to gain more weight. Even if your little one does need to bulk up, there are plenty of tools and resources for getting them back on weight gaining track. So with that, we have come to the end of this episode. And please do share this podcast with your friend, your colleagues, and all the mothers in your network. I would also like to request all listeners to please share your thought about today's episode. And if you have any topic on which you want me to cover on my podcast, please write to me. Would love to receive your comments. I will see you next week. Till then, bye-bye.